The other big thing, Evelyn, and we said this at the top and we'll say it again, is that the way that they tried to divide the country mirrored much of the language that Donald Trump uses. And what really sticks out is not that they did it during the 2016 election. We all knew that. But that it spiked. This effort spiked after the 2016 election and continued to mirror more closely the same rhetoric that Donald Trump was using in order to undermine, for example, the Mueller investigation.
Right. And the thing is, Katie, that it's continuing to this day. So on all kinds of topics, not just topics relating to the Russia investigation and Mueller, but even Syria. You see the Russian bots and the social media controlled by these bots erupting and essentially making the same points that the Russian government would make about Assad and Syria. And, of course, trying to keep us from doing anything more there. Ultimately, what I think it goes back to, again, this point was made earlier, but that the Russian government decided that America was its adversary. They declared political war, but they didn't openly declare it. So it's like an undeclared political war that we didn't want. And starting in 2010, we saw with Maria Butina and the NRA, the Russians were targeting us. And then, of course, through the social media, which these reports lay out really clearly, at least from 2013 on, they have good data on it, right? It then took an uptick, of course, around the elections. But as you said, the weird thing is that it went up even higher in 2017 and to this day hasn't stopped. And we don't hear enough about that. Are we reacting appropriately? Are we doing enough? I mean, this administration has put sanctions on Russia. Donald Trump himself will say, hey, listen, nobody has done more to push back against Russia than I have. Nobody has been harder on Russia than I have. If that is the case, why are they continuing to mirror his language and try to help his presidency? Yeah, I mean, if the answer is the question is directed at me, I would say more is clearly not enough. I mean, you'll know it's enough when the Russians stop. And the price is not high enough. These reports are really important because they're, cyber forensic examinations. They point right back to Russia. But we need to throw this back into the international fora because our allies are being targeted with the same stuff. As you reported last week, the Russians were active in fomenting and increasing the turmoil in France, legitimate grievances. But the Russians were in there on the social media, making the problem bigger and worse than it needed to be. Evelyn, what would your recommendation be for what more should be done in order to combat this? So stronger sanctions, clearly, against the Russians. I think we need to cut off their access to sovereign debt, new sovereign debt. There are bills pending on the Hill for this. I would expect the new Congress on the House side, certainly, to bring those bills onto the floor and pass them quickly. I think we also need to, again, like I said, go back to the international fora. The Russians, at a minimum, need to be shamed. They need to be held accountable. The world needs to see what they're doing, and they need to know that this is not acceptable.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.